Wait. I'm gonna go watch the bomb.
You created a fight club to get some coochie. I know y'all ain't tickling the pearl.
I just don't know if you're supposed to be talking to us like that, just like as a teacher.
I have no expectations for this movie. None whatsoever. I just want a silly comedy. I saw the movie.
Thank you very much.
Right after seeing The Bottoms, I put out a Letterboxd review that just said legalize being silly, and I believe that strongly. Legalize being silly. I feel like 2024 is going to be year of the silly. I feel like we're finally going to bring back Goofy. Tizo just dropped, which is that album's pure camp, and if you don't like it, then I don't like you, if I'm being frank. When I watched this movie, it was literally just me and another old lady, and at the end of the movie, she stood up, she looked at me, she said, "What'd you think of it?" And I was having a jolly good time. I like, spoiler alert, I liked the movie. I was sitting there laughing my little butt off, dude. I was having a good time. So I was like, no, I really liked it. I gave it a thumbs up. And she just looks at me and she just goes, "Ma'am, read the room. Are you offended that that this movie is gay? Are you offended? What the you nerd?" This movie has a very particular brand of humor. It might not be your cup of joe. If I were to compare this movie to give you a vibe of how it feels, I would compare it to like Anchorman.
Where the hell's the suit store? We've been walking for 45 minutes.
A movie that takes the beats of a coming of age story, but goes absurd. The only difference with The Bottoms is that it stars women. While the world might be completely absurd, the character relations and reactions are realistic. This movie does a really good job of getting you to care about PJ and Josie, played by Rachel Sennott and Ayo Edebiri. Both of those actors did a fantastic job. It's so fresh seeing such a just absurdly silly movie that really doesn't care about like pushing a more political or social message in it, but still has gay characters being silly, being ugly, being bad people, not just being stereotypes that are like held to such high regard, you know what I mean? Another thing that caught me off guard in this movie was how violent it actually was and how dark it got with some of the jokes. From the trailer I saw, they didn't really portray the fact that people are gonna die and there's no like consequences for those actions except like the ones that emotionally matter for the characters. It's very funny. And if you like Anchorman and you hated this movie, I think, dude, you have to think about it. Why did you hate this movie? Because it's literally the same style of comedy. So basically, the movie is about these two gay people trying to fuck two cheerleaders. Editor Hoovy here. I didn't properly explain what I was doing in this video. Basically, I'm gonna break down the movie a little bit, give my opinion on it, and then read some Letterboxd reviews and give my opinion on those. This whole video is about my opinion, which is subjective. So don't be silly. And while I have you here, consider dropping a like button if you like what you see so far. So the movie starts off and Josie has a broken arm. I don't think they ever established why Josie broke her arm. Maybe I wasn't paying attention. Josie is this more shy, kind of awkward person, which makes her very well complemented with her friend PJ, who's very outgoing and more forward with her intentions of what she wants to do.
Next thing you know, Isabel and Brittany are kissing us on the mouth.
And there's this third person that kind of just hangs around for the most part. Their name is Hazel. And when Hazel sees Josie's broken arm, she asks her like, "Oh, what happened?" And they're not really giving her an answer because they don't really care about her. Even though Hazel's like one of the best characters in the movie. Like, why are we hating? And the actress who plays Hazel, Ruby Cruz, actually does a pretty good job at just being like a genuinely nice person, which is very funny. But basically, she's just kind of spitballing things that could have happened to cause the arm to break. And one of those ideas that she says is, "Did you guys go to juvie?" To which PJ sarcastically says yes. And Hazel, poor little sweet Hazel, doesn't do that good with sarcasm. Well, that plot thread is going off in the background. PJ and Josie go to a football game where they see the two cheerleaders, Isabel and Brittany. Josie has a big crush on Isabel, and PJ wants to fuck Brittany. One thing that I really like about this movie is that these gay characters fucking suck. They're kind of assholes, right? They're only interested in Isabel and Brittany for their looks, just like how most of the men in the school are. And I just like seeing that representation because often in movies, gay people are held up in such a regard because it's written by, you know, a straight guy who doesn't want to step on any, doesn't want to step on any toes, bro. That was something that really won me over in this movie, was seeing that it was willing to go there. This opening segment feels like it was edited for a YouTube video. It's like so quick. I loved it though. And at this game, Isabel gets in a fight with her boyfriend, Jeff, who is the captain of the football team. And while Isabel is storming out of the football game, Josie is encouraged by PJ to try to pick her up, which she ends up doing. And Jeff doesn't like that and tries to stop them from leaving with her girlfriend, which causes a little knee tap. That, of course, Jeff spins into this whole fucking thing. He like walks in on crutches in one scene. It's fucking hilarious. Isabel gets out of the car and Josie and PJ just go home and presumably sleep. I don't think there was a scene after that. But next day in school, they get called to the principal's office.
Excuse me. Could the ugly, untalented gays please report to the principal's office?
Guess that's you guys.
And are gonna get in trouble for the tap. But when they get threatened to be punished because of their actions, they end up telling this lie about how they were trying to empower themselves and empower women to, you know, take back power. And anyway, it basically gets spun into a lie where they're forced to say we started a female fight club, and the teacher is okay with it because they use feminism to justify it. The fight club ended up being a really good diversion for what they did, and they end up getting off with a warning, which is pretty rad. But breaking news, PJ actually does want to start the fight club, which is not good. The way she pitches it to Josie is basically as a way to get pussy. They end up using the feminist angle in order to get women to join the club. Hazel believes them that this is their intentions, because Hazel just believes them because she's just a sweet little gal, I guess. Which sucks for them because it only attracts, quote unquote, I'm using the movie's language here,
ugly girls. I thought the trailer had this line, but none did male Microsoft Senpai.
And again, it's one of those things where it's like, the movie isn't shying away from being a little bit rude, being a little edgy, being mean-spirited a little bit. I feel so often we see gay characters in these kind of comedy situations and it's so sanitized. This movie really adds a little bit of dirt, adds a little bit of muck, and it feels so much more edgy and fresh because of it. So the fight club starts with all the ugly women, which and at the start, it is literally just them punching each other, but along with that punching comes a kinship and a friendship with them, which ends up attracting Isabel and Brittany. Mainly Isabel. Brittany just does what Isabel does. And yeah, Isabel and Brittany both end up attending one of the fight clubs. I should probably mention people in the fight club because there is some standouts there. I love the people who end up joining the fight club. There's this one character specifically in mind. Fuck, what's her name? What's her name? I can't, she wore a beanie throughout the movie, so I can't fucking, I don't know what her name is. Oh yeah, shout out Annie. There is black conservative representation in this movie. It's fucking hilarious. I love some of her just dry responses to things. She did a good job. Shout out that actress too. They introduced another character into the movie named Salvi, played by Summer Joy Campbell. Love that name. She has a moment that was very obnoxious in the trailer I saw, but when it played out in the movie, I actually really liked it. Another character that gets introduced with the fight club that I really liked is Mr. G, played by Marshall Lynch, which I didn't realize that was him. I've only ever heard the fucking name of this guy. He slayed. He was so fucking funny in this movie, like surprisingly. He played it so chill and just earnestly. I really loved it. But how Mr. G gets introduced into the plot is that PJ and Josie find out in order to have an after school club, they need to have an advisor, like a teacher advisor, and they pick out Mr. G because he seemed like he wouldn't care the most, but he ends up caring a lot, and it's very funny. He gets super involved with the team. So this first round of girl fight club is actually going pretty well. Women are walking away empowered, and this ends up making PJ and Josie pretty popular. And then they find out that Isabel and Brittany are starting to just fucking like them. They want to hang out and shit. What the fuck? What could go wrong? While this is happening, Hazel finds out that her mom is literally fucking Jeff.
Are you cheating on me?
I literally saw you yesterday.
Shut nerd, I fucked your mom.
That information gets passed off to Josie, who in a moment of intimacy ends up telling Isabel instead of just going for a kiss, which breaks Isabel's fucking heart. And this event is the turning point in the movie, as Isabel convinces the whole team to go on a tirade against him. And they do the standard stuff, you know, TP his house, egg it a little bit, accidentally plant a bomb. They plant a bomb on his car. During another spitball session, someone brings up a bomb and Hazel, you know, takes it a little too seriously and actually blows up his fucking car. The explosion of the car basically blue balls Josie, or blue ovaries Josie, I guess. And after the car explodes, it basically causes them to like stop being a team because like, holy shit, they blew up a fucking car. Luckily, you know, Jeff needed a new one anyway, so they didn't care about it. And obviously Jeff figures out really quickly who did it, and that causes his favorite guy, Tim, to go on the prowl for some information, go hunting, go sniffing around the club, try to get some dirt, you know what I mean? Try to figure out what's going on. Despite the girl fight club being disbanded, Josie and PJ are still friends with Isabel and Brittany. So Josie and Isabel decide to hang out, and PJ and Brittany decide to hang out. And the hangout sesh between Josie and Isabel goes great. They end up flicking each other's beans, dude. It's fucking puggers. But the hangout between PJ and Brittany doesn't go that well. As it turns out, Brittany, sadly, very straight, which is another little moment I love because it's very real. And it's a smart way to show how shitty PJ is and how superficial they are, only really thinking about themselves, you know what I mean? And that's not really something you could do with a straight person. So it's a really creative use of a gay person in a shitty situation. It's rare but I love to see it. And everything seems to plateau. It seems like everything's gonna go up until Tim comes up to Hazel and under the guise of feminism tries to convince Hazel, hey, women can do anything a man can do. So how about you fight Jeff? But the twist is, it's not Jeff. There's this guy that's been in a cage the whole movie in the background. Yeah, this character has been kept inside a cage the whole movie because he's like the top fucking wrestler guy of the school. And yeah, they put him against Hazel. She gets her ass beat, but she does put up a decent fight for a little bit there. I had hope. I thought Hazel could do it. But as much as I hoped and dreamed for Hazel, she got her ass kicked. Completely fucking ate, dude. And just to drive the fucking stake into our main character's heart even more, Tim comes along and exposes them. He announced to everybody, including Isabel and Brittany, that they only started Female Fight Club to get pussy. He also exposed them for lying about Juvie. So like, the relationship that they built up, what? It was made of lies. This whole sequence is completely silly, right? But what makes it hit and actually resonate with us is the reactions from the main characters. When we see Isabel and Brittany reacting to the information, it's legitimately heartbreaking. You can see the betrayal on their faces. Like, they do a great job. And that's what sells this emotional beat. These characters aren't just silly fucking stereotypes. They are actual people. They are just in a silly, goofy world. And a lot of that credit goes to these actresses for being able to pull off that balance of silly and serious. And obviously this announcement drives a wedge between the girls. And they basically just end up being reset to square one. And Josie and PJ are now not being bullied for being gay, but being bullied for being bad people. Fuck, dude. Josie at this moment is very lost and just kind of sad about the whole sequence, so she ends up seeking out some guidance. And she ends up reaching out to her old gay babysitter. Josie is warned by that babysitter that during the big football game that's going to happen, their rival team, who they've been fighting against for the last 20 years, has a tradition where they kill one of the opposite team members. Yeah, no shit. They literally are gonna kill one of the fucking guys. And it's just like accepted as like a fact. And that person the team is gonna kill this year is Jeff. So Josie needs to get the Fight Club back together so they can save Jeff's life because he's gonna fucking die. And they end up getting most of the team together besides Isabel and Brittany. And their only chance to do it is during the big football game. But sadly, they get separated and they can't grab their attention. But PJ and Josie come up with a pretty good idea. Blow shit up and cause a distraction, which they try to do, but it doesn't work. So in light of the bomb failing, they try to get the cheerleaders to kiss, but they just won't do it because they're pissed off for obvious reasons. They thought they were cherished and loved, but it turns out they weren't. And in a moment of utter confusion, PJ kisses Hazel, causing a big distraction, which is pretty rad because everyone claps. And this thread is not really talked about all that much after this point, but like Hazel and PJ have a moment. Like they give him a whole ass moment. There's a little swell in the music. It's everything. Like low-key, I'm a big fan of it. And this whole time, Josie's been trying to figure out what is the plan. How are they going to kill Jeff? Earlier in the movie, it's established that Jeff is allergic to pineapple. And it turns out the rival team replaced the sprinkler's irrigation system with pineapple juice. And then they set it to go off during the football game. And once the enemy team is found out, they just fight each other. And yes, the women kill the fuck out of the football team. And to this movie's absurdity, they don't do anything about it. Nobody cares. And then the crowd goes crazy again. Like, oh, thank God you killed a whole fucking team right here, right now. But you saved one of our guys, so that's Pog. That's epic. And after Josie saves Jeff's life, everyone just kind of vibes together and people get their happily ever after. Josie ends up with Isabel, which is really sweet. And is this movie perfect? No. A lot of the humor worked for me, but I can understand why it wouldn't work for anybody else. I'm a big fan of these silly, raunchy comedies. They're one of my like soft spots. Even when they're bad, I like them, if I'm being 100% honest. Like, I'm a defender of Freddy Got Fingered. All right, I'm gonna be 100% real with you. And I also love the soundtrack of this movie. There's some songs by Charlie XCX, which was fucking rad because I love Charlie XCX. And the cinematography in this movie looks pretty good. All in all, this feels like a movie that I would have watched when I was a teenager, and I'm very happy that kids nowadays have that edgy, raunchy comedy that represents them. And I'd honestly give this movie about like a 7 to 8 out of 10. I'm a big fan of it. I'm probably going to watch it again. I'm a big fan of movies like Booksmart, but one of my biggest problems with movies like Booksmart and Bros is that it's not an original story about, you know, women or gay people, but simply a formulaic comedy with gay people introduced into them. And while I ate up that slop and enjoyed it because, yes, I love representation, I love seeing myself on screen, it's ultimately not an original story. It's just a play on something else. Bottoms is an original story that you could really only tell with gay people. And I'm very excited to see gay people be in more edgy, raunchy comedies and be portrayed as shitty people, because guess what? There is some shitty gay people. But anyway, enough about my opinion. What about the rest of the internet's opinion on this movie? So let's check out some Letterboxd reviews. Rachel Sennott and A.O. Edebiri could do Fight Club, but Brad Pitt and Edward Norton couldn't do The Bottoms. Honestly, I agree with that take. If you thought Barbie was the best whimsical satire about feminism and the harms of the patriarchy, featuring music from Charlie XCX with a massive choreographed fight scene between warring fractions crafted specifically for lesbians, made in a year of 2023, well then guess again. I feel that this movie and the Barbie can make a nice pairing. Barbie is way more sentimental with its message than this movie. I feel like this movie is more silly and goofy. I like it though. The Avril Lavigne needle drop. I didn't even talk about that. During the third act slum, they dropped Complicated by Avril Lavigne, and that shit was rad. The movies are so fucking back. To mention that, yeah, this is an original movie, which is so fucking rad. I'm so happy that this year's been so great for original movies. Trying really hard not to be mean to Booksmart. I hate to pit two beautiful women against each other. I understand that, but like, yeah, it's not like Booksmart isn't original and funny in its own right. It's just that this movie is more creative and does something different with the material, rather than just putting women into the same roles that men play. They are very different comedies. The Bottoms is reviving the teen sex comedy. How about The Bottoms is reviving the blooper reel? I did stay during the credits to watch the blooper reel. I missed the blooper reel so much. When Kanye Gerber, I'm so sorry, said I'm straight, my entire theater booed. I wish, man. It was just me and one fucking old lady. Come on. The first rule of Fight Club. Have crazy gay sex. Yes. Finally, some representation for the lesbians who are horny losers in high school. Yeah, I love that. I love that they made that distinction very clear early on in the movie, that they're not hated for just being gay, but for being losers too. These have all been positive so far. Let's change it. This movie pissed me off. Why? It's silly. Boo, woman bad. You know, we have smart people here. I genuinely don't understand how this has such good ratings. This was painful watch from start to finish. I can understand that if you just didn't like the kind of absurdist humor, TBH, you know what I mean? It's not gonna be everyone's speed. Not everyone liked Anchorman, even back in the day, you know? I genuinely would not be surprised if the script was just a couple of bullet points. There is a lot of, it feels like there's a lot of improv in this movie, but that could just be the writing being really good and the actors being really good at selling that dialogue. But like, I don't think it's bad. I think they did a pretty good job and it made me laugh. It could have been good. It really could have been, but God forbid they actually do some world building. I don't know. Like, not everything needs to be world building, bro. This is just a small little comedy. All you need to know is the fucking high school, bro. This is easily one of the worst movies I've watched in a very long time. Firstly, the story did not make a lot of sense. I think the characters were underdeveloped, as in the directors did not give us a chance to understand who they were and what they felt. I think your media literacy is wrong. These characters were set up so fucking well, and it's purely through their performance. Yeah, there's not a lot of spoken dialogue. These characters really don't talk about how they act. They really just act how they act, and the actresses are doing a really good job of selling the character dynamic through like just the way they talk to each other. Like, you're being silly right now. You're showing off your silliness, dude. Besides that, developing the entire plot on a poorly explained lie/rumor, the girls go to juvie. It's funny because it's spelled like my name. My name is pronounced Hubi. It's Mexican though, so that's why you got pronounced like that. Was a very cheap way to start this. Yeah, I mean, if you thought the movie was being serious, but I think the movie does a really good job at establishing the sarcastic tone from the fucking start. I mean, the principal's literally cursing at them the whole time and calling them fucking ugly gays. Like, come on, dude. Also, why the fuck would Isabel like Josie if she did go to juvie?
I really value when people use violence for me. It's actually one of my love languages.
The jokes are extremely bad and there are a lot of them. That's one thing that I really liked about it. This movie never really gives you a second to breathe. It kind of is always throwing jokes at you. And while a few of them might be 5 out of 10, the rate at which they come at you just end up laughing at the absurdity of it all. I think that was pretty funny, but again, I can understand why some people don't like it. They would try to have a serious conversation, then shock the audience with a cringy joke. There was never a serious conversation in this fucking movie, dude. You're insane. I did, however, laugh at Mr. G's lines and jokes. Yeah, because he openly said he didn't like feminism at the beginning of the movie and then at the turning point of the movie. Because you got the sarcasm then. To put my frustration in numbers, according to Charlie, I'm a chicken cost. Oh my god, this is so nerd. I'd rather sit in a dark room for 1 hour and 32 than watch this movie again. See, I wouldn't do that. I feel like it's fun and it's silly. You just gotta be able to be okay with silly stuff happening. I feel like you just kind of missed the point of the movie and were mad at it because you didn't understand it. This is the worst shit I've ever seen. Almost made me walk out. Wasted $16. Cry about it, nerd. I'm so fucking confused. Why is this movie popular? The premise was very incel and what? And not done in a way to make anything redeeming. Yeah, because they did shitty things. Why would you want them to redeem them literally doing a terrorist act? But I guess it's good that lesbians can make bad movies. At least they're admitting that part, because that's also like a part of, you know, progress. If women can just make bad movies like men can. Rachel Sennott looks like she grows up to be Sloppy Joe's lady from Billy Madison. The Sloppy Joe's lady? Hold on. Dude, Rachel Sennott is so fucking hot. You're looking to hate this woman just because she's like funny. You know what I mean? We need a complete total shutdown of Zoomer filmmakers until we find out what the hell is going on. I think you're just mad that gay people and women are being represented in a movie in a way that isn't altruistic. You know what I mean? But with that, I think we're going to end this segment and end the video. What did you think of Bottom? Give me your honest opinion. I loved it, but you can also not like it for not homophobic, misogynistic reasons. I hope. Let's try to keep the discussion very civil in the comment section, please. It's just a movie at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Who cares? But yeah, let me know. And this is the end, I guess.